So far, Tears of the Kingdom looks like it could be one of the best Zelda games, and when I say best, I'm comparing it to games like Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, or Breath of the Wild. You see, when Breath of the Wild came out, it was really crazy because it completely changed what Zelda originally did and made it a complete open world game, but also the problem with that is they had less time to focus on dungeons and bosses, which really lacked compared to other Zelda games. So the question, will Tears of the Kingdom be the best Zelda game, is sort of an interesting one, because in my opinion, in order to be considered the best Zelda game, you also have to have what Zelda does best, and part of that is dungeons and bosses. So if Tears of the Kingdom fixes the dungeons and bosses and makes them a lot better, then I think it could definitely have a shot of being one of the best Zelda games, if not the best. I mean, we've already seen structures that we can assume are dungeons, and we've already seen Ganondorf and a couple other things that we could assume to be bosses, like this figure, which looks exactly like Demise. So if Tears of the Kingdom has Demise and Ganondorf, then I think it would definitely fix the problem that Breath of the Wild had with bosses. But then there's the open world thing, because Zelda games are known for being a lot more linear than other games, which is why it's not really an easy game to pick up, which is why it's also surprising that Nintendo decided to put Skyward Sword on the Switch, because that's also the most linear 3D Zelda, if not one of the most linear Zelda games ever. And although I love Skyward Sword, it's not very easy to just pick up and play. With Breath of the Wild, they changed that, and I think that's a good thing, but other people think that's a bad thing and would say things like it's not Zelda-y enough, which is silly and untrue, but it's still things that people can say that could limit Tears of the Kingdom from getting a higher rating than Breath of the Wild, or to be considered one of the best Zelda games ever to be released. Now, in my opinion, from what we've seen, I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be absolutely brilliant. We've already seen some things that we can assume to be puzzles, and that was one of my biggest problems with Breath of the Wild, is the shrines were like really easy, even though there was a lot of them. The Korok seeds weren't something I wanted to do, and the dungeons were way too easy, especially because I finished Varuda in 10 minutes, which is really bad. But what we've seen from Tears of the Kingdom, it's looking like they're gonna fix that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Tears of the Kingdom can just fix everything that Breath of the Wild did wrong. And Breath of the Wild is considered one of the greatest games of all time, so if Tears of the Kingdom can be better than Breath of the Wild, which is already considered one of the best games of all time, I think not only will it be the best Zelda game, it'll also be the best game. Tears of the Kingdom is literally doing what other developers are scared to do. Like the fusing mechanic, for example. A lot of other developers don't want to do that because that takes a lot of time to just make it to where you can fuse a shield on your sword, or you can fuse a mushroom to your shield so when an enemy attacks you, it's just a lot. And a lot of other developers are scared to do that. But Tears of the Kingdom is doing that. And that's the big thing. That's what's going to make Tears of the Kingdom amazing. So in my opinion, a better question than will Tears of the Kingdom be the best Zelda game is, will Tears of the Kingdom be as impactful as Breath of the Wild? And to be honest, I can't really answer that confidently until the game actually comes out, but when the game does come out, that would be a pretty good video. But something that would also be pretty good is if you subscribed. Was that good? Was that a good delivery?